The 25th Annual National Philanthropy Day Awards Luncheon will begin in 1 minute. Please make sure your cell phones are silenced.
Go, Bill.
May I have your attention, please? Now, please welcome to the stage our 2010 National Philanthropy Day co-chairs,
Kathy Rumelo and Kathy Michaels.
Thank you, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to the 2010 National Philanthropy Day celebration. I'm Kathy Rumelo. And I'm Kathy Michaels. Kathy Michaels and I are very honored to serve as your co-chairs for this wonderful event this year. Today is indeed a very special day as we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of National Philanthropy Day, Orange County. 25 years ago, there were approximately 310 nonprofit organizations in the United States. Today, that number has grown to over 1.6 million organizations. So, look how far we've come in just 25 years. We're pleased to give you each a copy of the original proclamation that President Reagan signed 25 years ago. It's on your, in front of you, on your bread plates, actually. Tied with a nice blue or orange ribbon, so take that home with you. We are extremely proud that National Philanthropy Day was founded and first celebrated right here in Orange County. Thank you, Doug Freeman, for your perseverance, dedication, and commitment, which led President Reagan to sign the proclamation 25 years ago. Speaking of Doug Freeman, I'm pleased to announce our distinguished honorary co-chairs. They are National Philanthropy Day founder Doug Freeman and his beautiful wife Lynn. I'm not calling them up yet, but I just want to introduce them. They're right here in the front. Another round of applause for them. Doug will be up shortly to talk a little bit more about the history. We also have another distinguished guest with us today, Governor Pete Wilson. Right here in front. Governor Wilson, along with Congressman Dan Lundgren, made the meeting with President Reagan possible. Thank you, Governor Wilson, for traveling with Doug to the White House all those years ago. And you and Doug haven't changed a bit. I saw the pictures. We will also hear from Governor Wilson in just a few moments. At this time, we are taking a moment to thank the Orange County Register. They've been the title sponsor for the National Philanthropy Day Orange County for 20 consecutive years. Please join me in recognizing the Orange County Register. We would also like to thank our event sponsors at every level. Without our sponsors, this program would not be possible. Their names are listed in the program book and appear on our screens today. Please be sure to take a moment to personally thank them as your paths cross. Kathy and I certainly can't thank enough the National Philanthropy Day Committee, a group of ASP volunteers who have worked for 8 months to create this wonderful event. It's been a privilege to work with these committee members who represent so many nonprofits in the community. We extend our deepest appreciation to them. With the National Philanthropy Day Committee members, please stand and be recognized. And finally, since we are celebrating the past today, we would like to recognize those individuals and organizations who have been outstanding honorees during the past 24 years. You've inspired us and led the way in Orange County philanthropy. These former honoree names are listed in the back of our program books, but if you are here today, would you please stand and be recognized? And now, please join me in welcoming to the stage Sally Lawrence, President of the Orange County Chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am most delighted and yet very humbled to be here today among so many leaders, givers, and doers whose philanthropy makes a difference in our world. Our nonprofit organizations depend on you. It's gratifying to know that we are celebrating 25 years of this wonderful event. As many of you know, National Philanthropy Day is produced by the Orange County Chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. There are many guests in the room today that have been affiliated with AFP through the years, and we thank you for your service and your dedication to our profession. Nearly 100 of you are here today because you affiliated yourself with a nonprofit that chose to put your name forward for distinguished recognition at today's special event. You propel us to greater heights with your vision. You lend a hand, you donate funds, you lead campaigns, and you build institutions. All of our honorees are listed in your program and are on the screen. Will all of those who are being honored here today please stand and be recognized, and will you join me in applause today? In addition, I'd like just to take a moment to recognize this year's co-chairs, Kathy and Kathy Michaels, for their dedication and commitment to National Philanthropy Day. Your vision and enthusiasm for the 25th anniversary of NPD has been extraordinary. Thank you so much on behalf of AFP. Again, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy our program. Thank you, Sally. And now join me in welcoming the girls from the Yorba Linda Girl Scout Honor Guard for their flag presentation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Honor Guard attention. Please rise for the flag of our country. Honor Guard advance. The pride that we have comes from people like you doing the things they know they must do. Dreaming the dreams of Americans do. Dreams of peace and getting along. A storybook life that flows like a song. With a lifetime of mellow memories to share with all of the people that have yet to dare. Ask us, just what's in America to keep you there? No walls to hold you in, no laws to make you stay. No, it's a simple pride in the American way. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor guard. Honor the colors. Honor guard dismissed.
Thank you, Girl Scouts. You very well represented the 25 Girl Scouts in our 25,000 Girl Scouts in our district.
Thank you, Girl Scouts. As I said earlier, Jeff Freeman will join us in just a moment to share the details of how he helped found National Philanthropy Day. But before I invite Jeff into the stage, please join me in viewing a special video presentation. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry I can't be with you there for the 25th anniversary of the National Philanthropy Day. 25 years ago, I was lucky enough to represent Orange County in the Congress of the United States. And I remember Doug Freeman being the first person who came up with this idea of having a day to recognize all the great work done in the name of philanthropy. With Doug, we managed to try and put this thing on the map. I remember it well because when they came to me, they said, this may be a shot in the dark, and that's how we can do it. Not because anybody was against it, but how could we get this as a priority? How could we get enough members of Congress, both the House and the Senate, that were essentially long enough so that we could actually get it passed? And President Reagan was yes, well, somehow we do it. Boy, has it been something, 25 years. I often think, what would we be without the philanthropy that is ongoing in this country? Tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars a year, and given voluntarily. Mind you what Alex Tocco said when he visited these United States. At that time, he was trying to find what the magic of America was. And one of the things he found was that we were a nation of joiners. It meant that we did things voluntarily. And people in Europe and other parts of the world only did well through government. It wasn't being good done at all. He thought it was remarkable. The spirit of voluntarism here in the United States. That's really the essence of philanthropy. Isn't it great that we have at least one day when we celebrate that? I sure wish I could be there. I'd love to be there with Don and Brent, somebody I've known for many, many years. Mary and Knott, that family has done such great things for Orange County and throughout the state of California and the country. All of them being honored this afternoon have done so much and really are examples of that American spirit. So I look to the future and I hear people say, well, we're in tough times. How we're going to work our way out. One of the things I always fall back on is the knowledge of people such as those you are awarding this afternoon. They come to the fore when it's necessary. Where would we be without them? So God bless you all. Sorry I can't be there. I know you're having a great luncheon. And 25 years may be a long time, but for me it seems just like yesterday when we're already in San Diego. Oh, and one more thing I almost forgot. Doug, the work that you did, the inspiration that you had at the beginning, really made this possible. And so, on behalf of AFP International and the AFP Orange County, I am honored, even though this is in the cyber world, to present to you, Doug Freeman, the MPD 25th Anniversary Founders Award. I'm just sorry I can't be there with you, but I know you will accept this with all the grace and dedication to continuing this effort that you've always shown in the past. So once again, congratulations. You deserve it. And boy, it's been an interesting 25 years.
Lynn, please accept our thanks for all that you do for philanthropy in Orange County. We very much appreciate your tireless efforts and your support for the many nonprofits in Orange County. You're a delight to work with. We've known you for a very long time, and we appreciate you, and congratulations. Okay, on to Doug. Doug, I've known you for, I think, more than 20 years now. We've worked together, and when you think of philanthropy in Orange County, Doug's name comes right to the top of the list. So, Doug, thank you for your vision, which really began more than 30 years ago. So, Doug, 5 hard, long years of work to get the state signed into a proclamation by President Reagan. So, we appreciate all that hard work, Doug. And on behalf of AFP International, AFP Orange County, I present you, Doug, with the one and only National Philanthropy Day Founders Award.
Well, you're right. I didn't expect that. This is not the day to say thank you to me. This is the day to say thank you to you. And it is a great privilege for me to accept it.
On behalf of all of you who have given so much to this community. Most of you heard the story, but if you'll give me a couple of minutes, I just want to share with you a little history because we forget how we arrived here, and I think it's interesting to understand the process, the road we were on. It actually began with a speech that I gave in Minneapolis in 1981. And those of you who have ever lived in Minnesota, particularly Minneapolis, St. Paul, understand that that's probably the most generous community in the entire world. Just that state, but also that city, the Twin Cities itself. And I found myself in a room much like today in front of individuals who had done so much to raise the bar for me and for most donors and volunteers and professionals in the field. And so I found myself saying thank you. And as I was doing that, I realized we didn't do that enough. And it impressed me so deeply that on the flight home from Minneapolis, as my wife Lynn knows, you do not leave me on an airplane for more than about 20 minutes or there will be something happening. And I wrote a letter to Ed Meese, who had just then been appointed Chief of Staff for President Ronald Reagan, suggesting that we have a day. And I assume, like most of you, that if you write a letter to a man of power and position, and it's a good idea, that it would be adopted in about maybe 2 days, and we would be here 5 years earlier. We actually didn't hear back from Mr. Meese, which some of you may say shocking, and others that know him say, well, what do you expect? About 2 months later, Lynn Nofziger was here in Orange County for a program that I had chaired and developed. It was a 2-day program on philanthropy, and Mr. Nofziger, who was the political advisor to President Reagan, was there. He was our keynoter. He sat through the whole day. I took him to the airport, and on the way back to the airport, he said, "This is such an impressive day. I am very, very happy to be here." And he says, "If there's anything I can ever do for you, Doug, you let me know." With that, I whip out my letter to Ed Meese. I said, "I haven't heard from him." He says, "All right, let me see what I can do." 1 week later, I was in the White House. That's how politics happen, I guess. But Mr. Reagan was gracious. He acknowledged it was a great idea. He said, "Have a good time, get it done. I'll show up when it's approved by Congress." That was the gist of the minute and a half I had with him. And I will tell you, I went to 2 gentlemen with whom I had enormous respect, for whom I had enormous respect, and I knocked on the door of then Senator Pete Wilson and then Congressman Dan Lundgren, and I asked for their help because I needed a sponsor in both houses. They were gracious enough, though a little confused as to why anyone would actually need to be thanked so broadly by the nation, because don't we do that already? And that was the challenge we always felt. How do we mobilize a community? How do we mobilize Orange County to say thank you? And it took 5 years, and it took 4,000 letters and 30 trips to Washington and a budget of $250 grand a year, which, by the way, if you've ever been in the fundraising business, you know is a little difficult to raise money to say thank you. Very difficult. We are here today as a result of, I think, a general recognition in this country that we owe to our men and women and boys and girls a debt of gratitude. That as a society, the quality of our lives have been affected by the generosity of these individuals. You are those individuals. And I will tell you that being here today, 25 years after the inaugural of this event, and to be in front of Donald Bren and Phil and Mary Lyons and Marion Knott and the others who are being honored is exactly why this day was created. It is about time we as a society and as a community say thank you to these men and women. We've all said thank you in our own ways, but we have never as a community stood up together and said thank you to them. So for me, this is just one more day in a road of eternal gratitude. I am grateful to you for what you have given to my family, my wife, my children. I am very grateful to the men and women of the AFP organization nationally and internationally, more particularly to our two chairs today who have brought this event to fruition. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to my wife, Lynn, who is, of course, the wind under my wings. And to her, I owe the values that I aspire, and I hope that I remain someone that she is proud of for the rest of my life. Thank you all very, very much.
And now we are thrilled to introduce our highly acclaimed MC, Maria Hall Brown, KOCE producer and reporter for Real Orange and producer and host of Bookmark. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Maria Hall Brown to the stage.
Thank you, Kathy, and Kathy squared. Well, congratulations to all of you for actually having made it from the parking structure into this room. This is a record crowd, and I have no doubt that nothing is happening in Orange County until 1:30 because of the extraordinary caliber of people that we're having lunch with today. I'm honored and proud to once again be your mistress of ceremonies for this wonderful event. As I've said to so many of you so many times, I love today because I have my favorite people in one place at one time. And speaking of favorite people, I have an 86-year-old next-door neighbor, Randy, and he is truly at the top of my list for many reasons. He's a Marine who has served in active duty for 3 wars, but I admire most everything about him. He loves to shop at farmers market and bring me produce, which is really cool, but he just likes to come by and tell me stories. And when Randy comes, I stop. I don't care if I'm going to be late or where I was going, I stop and I listen, because time with Randy is treasure time. He embodies everything everyone in this room feels. His daily life makes me want to be better because he gives from the heart in everything he does. And the other day he said to me, he's always looking for someone who needs something just a little bit more than he does. But he learned long ago that everyone needs encouragement. And I can't stop thinking about how simple and truly how profound that statement is. And that's why I love today, because today is all about encouragement. Encouragement from Doug Freeman, who started the whole thing. Thank you again, Doug. Encouragement from our awardees so that they really know that we see the difference that they make in our life. And encouragement for the rest of us to reach out to someone who might need something just a little bit more than we do. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. In any case, there are a lot of people a part of this, and in particular, our wonderful panel of judges. I want to recognize the hard work of our judging committee co-chairs, John Evans, Senior Vice President of Wells Fargo Bank, and Mrs. Janet Ray, Community Leader. John, Janet, stand up. We want to say thanks. John and Janet led a panel of 25 judges who had the difficult job of selecting 9 outstanding honorees from among the 100 submitted. They began reviewing submissions in June and made their selections in July, choosing the outstanding honorees who represent the best in philanthropy in Orange County this year. We want to thank the judges for their time and commitment, and their names are listed in our program. But of course, we want them to stand up so that we can say hello as well. So would our judges please stand? And now, on to why we are here. Our first award. The Outstanding Youth Award honors youth leaders under the age of 21, imagine that, who have demonstrated extraordinary commitment to the community through direct support, development of charitable programs, volunteering, and/or leadership. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Megan's father shared with me that Megan, as a little girl, just cared about other children who weren't as fortunate as she was. She decided to take her love of ice skating and channel that into a fundraiser, so she created the Skate-a-thon. So she and her sister Lauren went out the first year, got pledges for the laps they were willing to skate, got the rink time donated, and raised over $3,000 for the children of Olive Crest.
I went to the third year of the Skate-a-thon, so she had done the first couple years, and I went down to see what this amazing girl had done. And I remember driving down there, and to me it was kind of like the mission project all children do in 4th grade, where the parents do all the work and the children turn it in. Boy, was I wrong.
Megan has an innate ability to rally those around her and inspire others. Not only the girls that are skating for her to raise funds, but also the adults who are touched by what she's doing.
And she clearly, at I think 13, was in charge, knew what she was doing, had a vision, and did it in a very, very mature way.
She's a natural leader. She commands the crowd, and she garners respect through the hard work.
She also had the vision of setting up a foundation to have businesses donate goods and services and the rink donate to the ice time.
It's extremely unusual for a 15-year-old to have a foundation. Even more amazing is that she started the foundation when she was 11 years old.
Not only does it help raise money, but it helps raise awareness.
When Megan was 11 years old, she was on a phone call with a businessman who was trying to set up an appointment with her. And he was exasperated that he couldn't meet with her midday. And she finally said, "I'm sorry, I'm 11 years old, I go to middle school." He started laughing when he realized he was dealing with a child.
It's maturity beyond her years that I think it's just amazing.
For a 14-year-old girl to have raised over $86,000 in the last 4 years to benefit the children of Olive Crest, it's amazing.
I said, 2032 is the first year that Megan can run for president of this country. My guess is I'll be voting for her.
The obvious impact from Megan and her skate-a-thon is financial, but beyond that, it's inspirational. We are talking about a 14-year-old girl, now 15, who's out there doing something. If she doesn't exemplify the power of one, I can't think of what would.
And I also would like to say, on behalf of children of Olive Crest, just on behalf of Orange County and on behalf of the world, I'd really like to thank her for all she's done for children she hasn't even met. These are out there making a difference in the lives of children that through no choice of their own are put in a bad position. And Megan's making a positive impact for these children. Thank you, Megan, for all you do.
Early habits set a precedent for lifelong fulfillment, the joy of helping others. Welcome our outstanding youth, Megan Mahdi.
All right, wow, this is a big crowd. Hi, everyone. I wanted to start out by saying that this is an amazing honor, and I'm extremely grateful to be receiving this award. I know there's many other outstanding youth category nominees, so I feel especially fortunate to have been selected. I really want to thank the awards jury committee for choosing me as the 2010 recipient. I've had a lot of help over the past few years, so I want to start out by saying thank you to both Tina Fuertes and Steve Bernardi, who are on the video up there. And without you, I wouldn't be standing here. So thank you for taking the time to nominate me, and thank you for your continuous support. Of course, I have to thank my parents. You've encouraged me so much to go after what I wanted and always encouraged my dreams, regardless of what they were. So I couldn't ask for more. Thank you. Most of all, I really want to thank all of the skaters that skate with me each year. I'm happy to provide the event, but without their faith and support in me and them taking the time out of their busy schedules to raise money for the children that really need our help, my skate-a-thon couldn't be a success. So I have to thank all the people that have helped me. Project Joy has been such a journey, a fun journey, over the past 5 years. It started back in 2005. It was just me and my little sister, Lauren. She wanted me to mention her name. So it was just me and her. We skated as many laps as we could in an hour. And that year, we ended up raising $3,000 with the help of family, friends, and neighbors. The next year, I decided that it was something that I could expand and make even larger. So I asked even more friends to join me, about 25, that joined me and my little sister, and they skated in my skate-a-thon. Since then, I've launched a website, and I've made brochures to kind of expand Project Joy and give it more publicity. So just last Thursday, on November 11th, we held our 5th annual skate-a-thon, and I'm very proud and excited to announce that to date, we've raised over $100,000. Thank you. So I believe with a little support and a little generosity from everyone, we can make a really big difference. So thank you to all who've helped me make that difference. Thank you.
Megan is also receiving a check for $750 from the Youth Scholarship Fund for continued development and education. And every development director in the room is eyeing her for an internship, I'm sure. Now we'll move on to the Outstanding Volunteer Fundraiser Award, which honors a volunteer who has demonstrated leadership in coordinating and motivating others to accomplish a philanthropic project for the benefit of a charitable institution, and one who has devoted a substantial amount of personal time, energy, and creativity to one or more organizations, and one who truly exemplifies the spirit of volunteerism at its best. Annually, over 500,000 volunteer fundraisers assist nonprofits in Orange County. Their spirit and perpetual optimism is epitomized by Henry L. Jones. Please direct your attention to the videos.
I couldn't possibly think of somebody more deserving than Henry for this recognition, especially this year with all that he's been through.
My admiration for Henry increased leaps and bounds when I saw what he was willing and able to do to raise money for the Care for the Poor program for St. Jude so recently after losing his wife and his daughter.
Everybody in the world would have understood if Henry had just gone into a shell and we didn't hear from him for a year. That would have been perfectly acceptable, and he had every right to do that. He didn't do that. He stayed active, he stayed involved, and to me the most exciting part was he continued to give, he continued to role model philanthropy, he continued to lead by example, he continued to motivate others.
And in the midst of losing these two very important people in his life, he was the chair of the Neighbors Helping Neighbors Committee for the St. Jude Memorial Foundation. Puts on a dinner once a year at the Summit House to raise money for the Care for the Poor program. And while I had sort of expected Henry, given those losses, to walk away from it or perhaps hand the chairmanship over to someone else, instead he revved it up even more and threw himself into it despite his own losses, and ended up raising more money than the program has ever raised in the history of that dinner.
The largest component of our Care for the Poor program is in our St. Jude Neighborhood Health Center in the Richmond neighborhood in Fullerton. It's where we have a clinic, and we take care of mostly pro bono physician visits and nurse visits for members of that community and surrounding communities. We're able to provide health care to those that otherwise wouldn't be able to receive it.
Mr. Jones has been so wonderful to the whole community. This would not be here if it wasn't for Henry.
He really has a genuine passion for others and putting others, mostly the needy, first.
Henry is probably the warmest person you will ever meet. He is a very genuine man. What you see is what you get with him. And what I really like about Henry is not only is he a personal giver, he puts his money where his mouth is, so to speak, he really inspires people around him to give. You really can't help but support what Henry is supporting because you know if he's behind it, it has to be something very worthwhile.
What he has meant to us has been so inspiring. I'm at a loss for words to really describe. I don't know how he does it.
Please welcome our Outstanding Volunteer Fundraiser Award, Henry L. Jones.
Thank you. I was with Megan at the press room, and we were the bookends. I was the oldest, and she was the youngest, so it's a hard act to follow. But I want to say thank you, but I also want to accept this award on behalf of all the volunteers. Over the past 40 years, I've met so many wonderful people that volunteer in our communities and do so much good. Especially, I want to mention the late Mimi Gillespie, who passed away this week. She was one of my mentors, and at St. Jude Hospital, Mimi gave 25,492 hours of volunteer service. So I feel that I pale in comparison to Mimi. Many years ago, my employer, State Farm Insurance, encouraged me to be involved in community service. They are very supportive of community service, and one of the quotes I heard along the way was that you should not go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands. You need to be able to throw something back. And I wanted to take a moment and throw a few things back toward the table that I just came from. I wanted to recognize my appreciation to my wife, Cindy, my daughter, Kim. The family has been very supportive of my activities through the years. I also have two philanthropists that joined us today, Barbara Winter and Kay McCarthy, who is here in support, along with Susan Smith and Nancy McCoy are there representing St. Jude along with Joe Lenz. Thank you very much. And I want to thank St. Jude not just for submitting my name, but for what you are and all that you stand for. I have a passion for supporting health care for all, and your leadership has inspired me to tears. Walking through the entry with Cindy on Monday of the new medical center building, there's a sign there that says St. Jude Medical Center is committed to dignity, service, justice, and excellence. Justice was the word that I caught that seemed to light up as I was reading it. It reminded me of a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's not possible to be in favor of justice for some people and not be in favor of justice for all. I salute all of you for being who you are and making this a better world because you're here. Thank you to the Orange County fundraising professionals for hosting National Philanthropy Day. And it says so well when I received your invitation, your words that are on the front that say, change the world with a giving heart. We should all leave here and go and do the same. God bless you all. Thank you. I'm going to Disneyland.
It's not a very far walk. Thank you, Henry. Now we turn our attention to the Outstanding Philanthropic Group Award, which recognizes a volunteer group that has demonstrated extraordinary commitment to the community through direct involvement, financial support, and leadership.
Our surgery center in Irvine partnered up with Access OC to basically bring about the very first surgery day, which was a free surgery day for uninsured working residents of Orange County.
Access OC with Less Than Act Free Clinic has been able to get surgeries for probably 150, 160 patients over the last 3 years. Patients that had nowhere else to turn. Our patients are the poorest of the poor, those without insurance, without anywhere to turn. And if it wasn't for Access OC, these patients, we would have no ability to get them their surgeries.
The last surgery day, which was the 7th we've had with Access OC, we actually started doing some eye surgeries. These are cataracts, and a lot of these people are blind in those given eyes. And they're very simple procedures, yet very costly.
We've partnered with Access OC to develop a new program called eConsult, in which we can actually refer our patients through the eConsult system, through the computer, where a primary care doctor can actually do a consult online with a specialist that we would otherwise have no ability to communicate with. So we have high hopes that this program will flourish and be able to continue and be able to help more and more patients as it develops.
The feedback is fantastic. What I feel in the volunteers is they sort of go back to their roots and why they went into medicine. Loving what they're doing. We've had several patients who have come back and actually volunteered with Access OC once they're healed. We've had patients who come back and tell us what's happened in their life after the surgery. A lot of these patients are young. You know, they're working people in this county. And so, you know, there's a lot of good positive feedback that we've gotten directly.
The impact that Access OC has on the community is huge because of their ability to get hospitals involved in all different parts of Orange County. We have the ability to get surgery for people all over Orange County. So it's not just in one location or another location that we're able to get surgeries. So the impact that they have is much greater. Their footprint is much larger in the community because of their ability to get hospitals involved throughout the entire of Orange County.
I think Access OC definitely is a role model for other institutions who want to do something similar to this.
Welcome our Outstanding Philanthropic Group Award, Access OC. Accepting on behalf of Access OC is Erica Wadley.
Thank you so much for letting me be here today because it is my honor to represent the over 400 volunteers that we have that work with us. Many of you probably don't realize that we have close to 500,000 hard-working residents here in Orange County that can't afford their health insurance, who work many part-time jobs and don't get offered health insurance benefits, or maybe have been laid off in the last couple of years and can't afford the COBRA premiums. We have a wonderful system of community clinics here in Orange County. You saw Mr. Ed Gerber, the Executive Director of Less Than Act Free Clinic on the video, who provides primary care and some specialty care for these residents who can't afford to go anyplace else. But what happens when you have a self-employed cabinet maker who can no longer lift the cabinets that he's making because he's had a hernia for 12 years? Or what happens when you have a nanny that has been caring for children for 10 years and all of a sudden can no longer mix the formula in the bottle because she can't see it? She has a cataract and she has nowhere to go to get that fixed. Or the specialty care needs because we have a shortage of medical specialists here in Orange County. We are fortunate to have medical staff volunteers. As many of you know, for decades, healthcare professionals have volunteered and rallied to go all over the world to meet the needs of disasters. Access OC provides an opportunity for these medical health professionals to volunteer in our own backyard, to take care of some of these residents who are probably your neighbors and live in your neighborhoods. We have surgeons, anesthesiologists, OR techs, admitting clerks, EVS people that turn over the OR rooms, students from our local colleges that all get up probably by 4 or 4:30 on a Saturday morning, probably on their one day off that they could sleep in, to come to one of our hospital partners and provide the passion and the care and the expertise to provide free surgeries for our patients and families. We have the specialists, as you heard, that volunteer to work with the community clinics to provide specialty consultations electronically in order to provide these patients faster and more comprehensive care so that the preventative aspect of the care is being provided. As you've heard today, and you will hear today, volunteers come in all shapes and sizes, all ages, with all different types of expertise. But the one thing all of our volunteers at Access OC have in common is a passion to help those that have nowhere else to go for this care in Orange County. So I am very privileged to be here to represent those patients and families that we've been able to provide service for over the last several years, and to thank our volunteers for providing that care and that passion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica. I also want to mention that these wonderful videos that you've been watching today are beautifully produced by Bill Ennis of Media Magic, so thank you, Bill. Well, our next presenter needs truly little introduction. He served 5 years as a California State Assemblyman. He was the longest-serving mayor of San Diego, 11 years. Who knew that? He was first mayor of San Diego to rise to higher office. He served for 8 years as a U.S. Senator, the first mayor of San Diego to run for president. He served our wonderful state of California as governor from 1991 to 1999. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome our very special guest, Governor Pete Wilson.
Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to be here today and to have the role that the people who organize this event have assigned me. They are, by the way, the Association of Fundraising Professionals. I, by contrast, am an amateur. However, what I lack in finesse, evidently I make up in persistence. Old friends now cross the street when they see me coming. I am very proud of a friendship that I think is the real reason that I have been given the honor of participating with you today. You heard Congressman Dan Lundgren mention in the video that it was 25 years ago when Doug Freeman's dream began to be a reality. Well, I think that all of us in this room, and Megan, this is a large crowd. I'm used to addressing smaller ones. They tend to get smaller the longer I speak, too. I'll bear that in mind. But when Doug Freeman had this idea, I think everyone thought, well, that's a nice thought, a nice idea. It has become so much more. And in fact, what began here in Orange County because of Lynn and Doug's passion for philanthropy and for recognizing philanthropy to encourage more of it has become literally internationally celebrated. And I say they are to be congratulated on that as well. But I must say that there are so many people here today who deserve the congratulations they are receiving, none more than an old and very dear friend. I have known him now more years than either he or I care to disclose. And he doesn't disclose it. He looks very much the same. I'm not sure what his secret is. Maybe it is his philanthropy. Maybe it is also the fact that he is robust and active, an Olympic-class skier, a long-time very skilled sailor. But I think his passion for life has led him to recognize that he's been very fortunate, and indeed, he doesn't have a catcher's mitt on either hand, and it's taken both for him to achieve the magnitude of philanthropy that he has created. If you look in the brochure that is at each of your places that tells you about the program participants and the recipients of the awards today, you'll find a very good, if inadequate, summary of all of the things that Donald Bren has been engaged in over a period of some years now. For some years, after we were friends, I must tell you I was unaware of the extent of Don's philanthropy, the extent of his generosity, and how wide-ranging it was. They've done a good job summarizing it. But it's a little difficult even for someone with my history of dealing with zeros to get his head around $1.3 billion as the estimated collective value of the philanthropy in which Don Bren has engaged. And it has, in fact, as you're told in that summary, covered largely three areas about which he feels passionate: education, conservation of precious land and species, and the kind of research that gives hope and promise of bringing medical cures, breakthroughs in technology that will indeed make life better for all of us. It is an extraordinary record. So extraordinary that when, in fact, the Irvine Company became his to do with, without competition from, or I should say without interference from others, a very great part of his desire to achieve what he thought could be achieved arose from his understanding that the Irvine Ranch, some 93,000 acres stretching in from the ocean to the Cleveland National Park, was indeed precious and unique, so much so that he thought that a very considerable portion of it should be enjoyed by the public, that the public should have access to it, that it should be protected literally for future generations. And he's achieved that. When first he came to the helm of the company, there was a recognition of an obligation of that kind, but it involved some 11,000 acres. The gift that is made permanent, the access of future generations, embraces now more than 50,000 acres, more than half that ranch. And he has, at the University of California, achieved a literally unique status. He has been the donor of remarkably needed departments that relate to improving the environment. And as I'm sure that those in this audience understand, he is responsible for the Donald Bren School of Computer Science and Engineering, one of the very first in the nation and one of the very best. It is almost impossible to chronicle all that he has been involved in. Some $200 million has been education here in Orange County, starting with individual students, those in need, and going right up the ladder to the very top, to those who are in positions of high responsibility for the education of our children. It is a remarkable record, so much so that he has been recognized, as you will read by Business Week, as one of the 10 most generous philanthropists in the country. The efforts that he has made on behalf of providing access to future Californians caused the Sunday London Times to recognize him as one of the 10 most important environmentalists on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, words can't do it, so perhaps what we should do is play a brief video that will give some idea of the breadth and the depth of this man's, to use the definition of philanthropy, love for mankind.
I think there are a couple of things that set Mr. Bren apart as a philanthropist. The first is his tremendous vision. He envisions his philanthropy as a catalyst that creates ripple effects.
Every year when we do an assessment of our accomplishments in the district, we look at how our past graduates are feeling about their education. And invariably, it's their experiences in the art, science, and music. And those are the areas that we have been so blessed with the generosity of Mr. Bren.
Mr. Bren has always been a believer that investing in our children is the best investment a community can make or an individual can make.
The other thing that I think sets Mr. Bren apart as a philanthropist is his expectations for his philanthropy and for his donations. Mr. Bren has a true expectation of results with his donations. I think that makes the organizations that he works with as a philanthropist better. It challenges them to be the best that they can possibly be.
The schools that have developed throughout the Irvine Ranch have benefited from an amazing contribution of Donald Bren of $200 million. These are kindergarten through 12th grade schools as well as institutions of higher education. And our community feels with a gift of that level and stature that we have an obligation and a responsibility to use that money extremely well.
To have somebody of Mr. Bren's caliber and reputation as an investor invest in this work has been a very important stamp of approval for our organization that has put us on the map with other investors. It's allowed us to not only utilize the funds that Mr. Bren's given us, but to leverage that way beyond.
He is giving children the opportunity to know that an adult cared enough about them to give them exposure to a life skill that will carry with them forward.
I think that's sort of the epitome of an investor philanthropist, someone that uses the catalyst of their philanthropy to make change that's permanent over time. One of the things we've been able to do at the Irvine Ranch Conservancy is take a very large-scale approach to taking care of and stewarding all of this land that has been set aside. They've set aside fully half the Irvine Ranch in open space, and it's tremendous land. It's of national significance, and it has just changed the character of Orange County from what people think of as an urban area to, in fact, one that has a tremendous amount of open space.
We have been so fortunate with his generosity to have several generations of children that will be going out into the world, that will be our scientists, they'll be our artists, they'll be our musicians, and they will have an impact ongoing. And what a great partner to believe in our children and our youth, to spur them on to other levels of greatness.
In the early days, Mr. Bren funded the budget for a site each year. In 2006, he made a 10-year commitment as we moved into public school campuses. And then in 2008, he made a landmark $8.5 million commitment to Think Together to scale up and go district-wide in Santa Ana and really enrich the after-school program there at 47 schools serving close to 20,000 students. From my perspective, having the support of arguably one of the savviest investors of the last century invest in this kind of work, it's very important, I think, to all the children of California, because he can be a catalyst for so many others to come in behind his investments and leverage that to really build a system of support that will invest in California's future.
The combination of his vision as a philanthropist and his expectations for what people will do with his gifts make him the ideal recipient for this award.
The award that the Association of Fundraising Professionals thought appropriate was one that would not be given every year, one that would be reserved for only people who had made such an extraordinary contribution, and they thought that it was appropriate that it be titled the Donald Bren Legacy of Giving Award. I might say there are many in the audience who have been recipients, directly or indirectly, of Don's generosity. There are many on campuses throughout the UC system. I believe he has endowed more chairs than anybody in the history of the institution. He has done something similar at Caltech. He believes in making good change. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great, great pleasure and pride in our friendship that I ask you to help me welcoming the Donald Bren, or the first recipient of the Donald Bren Legacy of Giving Award, Mr. Donald Bren.
Thank you so much. It's really fun to have everyone here today. Well, now we are going to let our wonderful host serve our lunch, and I will be back up here in just a few more moments to get going. Oh, we're going to keep rolling. Very nice. All right, so continue to eat when your food is served, but right now I would love to introduce to you the Pacific Chorale performance. Please welcome soloist Zenaida Robles, Kelly King, and accompanying them on the piano, David Clemenson.
clouds are a hopeless jumble, and the raindrops tumble to the ground, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place beyond the sun, just a step behind the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Oh my. Wow. That was extraordinary. Kelly, are you related to Judy Collins by chance? Oh, that was amazing. Well, that's a perfect way to start the lunch. Let's give them another round of applause. They were incredible. Well, as you heard, we are moving on. So if you wouldn't mind being just a little quiet while you're enjoying your lunch, because we have some wonderful recipients of some wonderful awards to continue with. And our next presenter happens to be, as I said, in that list of extraordinary people I love to just be in their presence. They are the last year's recipients of the National Philanthropy Day Lifetime Achievement Award. They've been generous philanthropists in Orange County for over 30 years and just unbelievably fabulous people. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce to you the 2009 Lifetime Achievement Award recipients and Orange County philanthropists, the wonderful John and Elizabeth Starr.
The Outstanding Philanthropist Award recognizes an individual whose vision and leadership has been a catalyst for establishing a nonprofit organization that improves the quality of life in Orange County. Mary and Phil Lyons have a lighthouse as part of their home. And I like to think of their lighthouse that it's a beacon and a guide for the rest of us to help and provide for others. They have been our friends for over 30 years and are the perfect examples of philanthropists. They have provided significant financial support, extraordinary leadership, and countless volunteer organization hours to many Orange County arts programs. Most notable, Pacific Chorale, Pacific Symphony, and KOCE TV, Arts Orange County, and the Imaginations Celebration. Mary and Phil's generosity and commitment also extends beyond Orange County. Mary serves on the board of the directors of Chorus America, the national service organization for choruses in North America. Mary, without you, your major underwriting and advocacy, Pacific Chorale would not be what it is today. You've been on the board since day one, and your commitment to this organization has been truly amazing. From your service on the National Chorus America Board, as well as your stellar singing. Phil, you have been a faithful member of Pacific Symphony Board, helping with finance and investment forever. They could not do without you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Outstanding Philanthropist Award winners. Oh, the video. Phil and Mary Lyons.
The video is over.
Go ahead, Bill. We're going to watch the fabulous video.
When we nominated Phil and Mary Lyons for Outstanding Philanthropist, it had to do with both their support for KOCE and their support for so many other things.
They are so passionately committed to building a cultural fabric in Orange County, whether it's educationally or in the concert hall. They are two of the most committed philanthropists for arts and culture that I've ever been exposed to.
I think what differentiates a philanthropist from an outstanding philanthropist is the ability to look towards what's best for the organization's future. And I think because of Mary and Phil's support, Pacific Chorale is not simply an organization, but it has become an institution.
They are the kind of people that do whatever is necessary and get fully involved.
It doesn't really matter whether Phil's on the podium conducting the Pacific Symphony or whether it's Mary singing in the Pacific Chorale. It's always been a real honor to have you as part of the music-making family of the Pacific Symphony and the Pacific Chorale.
Mary, incredibly committed to the educational programming, investing in new activities, risk-taking, very passionately committed to the idea that arts education should be a fundamental birthright of all the children in our community.
She was first of all a teacher, and when she stopped teaching, she still wanted to deal with education. And from her beginnings with the Pacific Chorale, as the chairman of the board, and in helping the artistic organization move forward, she made a very strong point of being sure that education was a part of that.
Phil has been a longtime member of the executive committee, and he's chaired our investment committee. And I think he's chaired the investment committee not only because he's a student of business and finance, but ultimately because they have become significant investors in our endowment, and a belief that young organizations in Orange County need that kind of permanent fund to be successful in the long term.
Mary, of course, is a member of the KOCE TV Foundation board. I love Mary. She's outspoken, she speaks her mind, and she's usually right.
They are absolutely dedicated to the arts, but more than that, they have this tenacity about the promotion of the arts and making sure that the arts are accessible to everybody in our community.
Phil and Mary Lyons, in addition to supporting KOCE, have single-handedly kept a number of arts organizations in this community alive over the years. They've done this for decades, and we'd be lost without them.
And certainly there's been no one more important, a better leader, a better example, a more dedicated and tireless flag bearer for the arts in Orange County as Phil and Mary Lyons.
We couldn't think of two more wonderful people to be awarded this great honor.
It's been a wonderful marriage between these two people who love each other very much in their love and for the arts and their desire to support the arts and make it better. They are truly a wonderful team.
On behalf of all of the arts lovers in Orange County and John and Elizabeth Starr, please welcome Mary and Phil Lyons.
We're going to take you backward to 1959, spring 1959. Phil and Mary Lyons arrived in Costa Mesa, California, and our dear Uncle Herb rented a truck and brought down our entire belongings, which consisted of the following: 1 2-week-old baby girl with her crib, a desk out of my bedroom that I'd had since I was 13, a bed, that was a good thing, and then we had a coffee table, a really gorgeous piece of work done by Phil in 8th grade woodshop. That's how we began in Orange County. And Phil was alive with entrepreneurial zeal and great ideas, and he was excited about being here, and I was confused. I had absolutely no idea really how I was going to find my way. And before I began my life as a teacher, I, of course, had children, and so our lives began to revolve very quickly around family and work. I think we were so involved with those things it took us a long time to really look around and figure out how to be involved. We want to thank the organizations which nominated us, and we thank them for their mission, for their vision, for the wonderful programs they are all about. It makes us feel wonderful to be a part of those programs and to help them move forward. It's truly an honor for us to be philanthropists. I don't think we ever imagined when we first arrived with that crib and that wonderful coffee table that this is where we would be standing today. But what a treasure it has been. Life in Orange County has been very good to us, and we want to make it better for everybody else while we can, and so we do. Thank you so much for treating us to this honor today and for thinking of us as outstanding. We think of ourselves as community investors, and I think we would both like to live in a more beautiful and enlightened world, and if we could be part of making that happen, I hope we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, when Mary and I first moved down here, as she mentioned, in 1959, we made a deal because we didn't have much. We had one car and the items she had mentioned. And I said, look, I'll be the dragon slayer, and you cook the dragon meat and raise the kids. So it was kind of a joke, you know. So anyway, that was my job. She had her job, and that changed. We raised our kids. I'm still the dragon slayer, and now she's raising arts organizations. It's really amazing. I have to hand a lot of this to Mary. She's been a terrific supporter of the organizations aforementioned, and I am pleased to be able to support them, both in my time is much less than her time, but be able to financially support the organizations. And it's been a wonderful and heartwarming feeling, and I think the other donors in the room who are also should be proud of yourselves, because it is a wonderful feeling to give to others and to throw away those catcher's mitts and keep tossing that ball, okay?
She wants to be in this one. All right.
MC's prerogative. I think I just photo crashed. All right, now we are moving to a wonderful award, the Outstanding Small Business or Corporation Award, which recognizes a business with fewer than 30 employees that have demonstrated a consistent commitment to philanthropy through its involvement in one or more nonprofit organizations in Orange County. Outstanding businesses make a difference, not only by providing financial support, but also by being leaders in the community and by driving innovation that improves the quality of life for everyone living in Orange County. Please direct your attention to the videos.
I was absolutely delighted when I heard that Thrivent Financial for Lutherans had been accepted as the winner in this category. They are an incredible organization, and we are so delighted to work with them. Here in Fullerton, we're building 11 homes. We're completing the last 5, which will be done in December. Of the 11 that we have built, Thrivent has funded 3 of those.
They've contributed well over $1 million here locally in Orange County. And as a result of that, we've been able to partner with them and build 6 new homes here in Orange County. And that's 6 lives that we've impacted based on their wonderful contribution and partnership.
Certainly a company can write a check, which is extremely important to what we do. But beyond that, Thrivent Financial for Lutherans has really stimulated additionally hours and hours of volunteers working on the construction site.
When you actually take their over $1 million of contribution, add in the partnership with the Lutheran Church and what the local churches have been able to contribute, and then you add in the volunteer hours of over 18,000 hours, that total actually gets closer to $2 million when you add all 3 of those components. And that's just phenomenal. You think about the impact that that's had.
Since 2006, we've had over 2,200 Thrivent or Lutheran members from throughout Orange County working on the construction site, and that actually saved us over $400,000 in costs. Thrivent really looks at how what we do makes a difference in a community. So the fact that we're building houses is great, but that partnership has now grown beyond just building houses to revitalizing communities.
I've been really impressed with the organization Thrivent and what it's brought to the table for us here, given their benchmarks that they have in their grant process. It allowed us as board members and then obviously as staff to examine our processes and determine where we could become more efficient in order to meet their benchmarks and guidelines. And as a result, we have been able to get more homes built quicker than we ever had in the past. As we know, the quicker we can get these homes built, the more cost effective the homes are. And it's made our overall organization, not only just with our Thrivent builds, but our overall organizations more efficient, and we've impacted more families here in Orange County.
I really see Thrivent and Habitat Orange County continuing this relationship because we both have a vision of how you can help communities grow, not with just new houses, but with transformation within the community. I see that growth just blossoming throughout Orange County as we build more houses and transform more communities.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage H.E. Durbin and Peter Drake, who will accept the Outstanding Small Business or Corporation Award for Thrivent Financial for Lutherans.
Well, thank you so much. And first and foremost, definitely want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for all the blessings that he's given us individually and as a company. So many people to thank, being a part of this business category. Want to thank the 18 representatives across Orange County, especially Catherine Fullerton, Jim Smith, Rob Moe, do a lot of work with this partnership and this teamwork. And of course, the Habitat team is awesome. Sharon, Heather, everyone in your office, so great to work with. It's been a true blessing to myself individually and to our company with the partnership that we have together.
I have the opportunity to represent not only all of our colleagues, but all of our members, because they are what makes this happen and gives us the opportunity to give back. In particular, I have 2 colleagues that I definitely want to thank. In particular, I'd like to thank Catherine Fullerton, my business partner, that helps us run our practice. And another gentleman that isn't here today. He's back on the East Coast. His name is Rob Moe. He's actually a board member for Habitat for Humanity. He serves on many charitable organizations. Another one that he and I both love, Concordia University Irvine. He's very involved there. And I want to thank him because he's a big part of us helping make that connection with Habitat. Also, I have to share this story because this was probably my most meaningful connection with Habitat. I had the opportunity to meet the Diaz family. They had just been awarded their house, and the Diaz family, they were featured in the Orange County Register. Mr. Diaz and his two children, who are autistic, met me with a fellow colleague, and Mrs. Diaz wasn't able to be there that night, and so I knew that she had been sick, and I asked Mr. Diaz in my little bit of Spanish and his little bit of English, I asked him, where she was, and he said she was in the hospital. But he said that she wanted everybody to know, to Habitat and also Thrivent, that she felt very at peace, that she was at peace knowing that her family was going to have her a home, that her two autistic children were going to have a home even if she was gone. And before the completion of that build, unfortunately, Mrs. Diaz passed away. But it was quite a comforting feeling, the celebration of that house. Even though Mrs. Diaz was not able to be there physically, she was there in spirit. Lastly, and most importantly, we have to thank our members and our volunteers. Thrivent Financial for Lutherans is a company where we do financial planning for people, and they have the opportunity to work with many great companies that are out there, and they choose to work with us. And when they do, we're able to make a difference in the community. Last year, during the year of 2010, our company gave back nationally $125 million, and that's something that we're very proud of as a company. But truly, we are nothing without our members, because our members are the ones that choose to do that business with us, and they are also the ones that choose where our dollars go, and they put their volunteer hours with their money. And it truly is an amazing relationship. So thank you very much to all of our members that are here today.
Well, I don't think it's fair that the one time I tear up was for outstanding small business. So thank you very much. That's a very poignant story, but it exemplifies you never know where the reach is. You just have to make sure that you at least make the attempt to the reach. Now we are going to move on to the Outstanding Large Business or Corporation Award, which recognizes a business with more than 30 employees that demonstrates an outstanding commitment to philanthropy through its financial support of one or more nonprofit organizations, its leadership's involvement, and the volunteer participation of its workforce, thus establishing a role model for other businesses in our community. Attention to the video.
Golden State Foods and Golden State Foods Foundation and Mark Wetterau specifically have been a great supporter of the food bank for a long time.
When you get Mark, you get the entire Golden State Foods organization behind you. And there are many, many individuals in the company who have worked tirelessly on our behalf in organizing whatever we need done to help us accomplish our mission.
But when it came time for us to do a major capital campaign and move into this facility, we had a major challenge, and the capital campaign consultant that we were using said that it would take a few years and that we could raise about $5.5 million, and we set the goal of $8.5 million and 2 years, and Mark did it.
Golden State Foods also has been a financial sponsor through the Golden State Foods Foundation.
From the turkey trot to the no lunch lunch to the harvesters event, Mark's team in Golden State Foods Foundation is always in there helping.
We recently, in the last several months, had a major food drive, and Mark was active going into supermarkets and speaking to the store managers about the need to get product out on the floor so that customers could pick up these items that were essential to the food drive.
When Mark first joined the board, he asked what he could do to help, and that's just kind of the spirit of all of the people there.
Golden State employees have volunteered at the food bank and continue to support us. It's sometimes volunteering here, sometimes in the course of their day in their own office.
When our food model changed from a model as basically getting overstocked food and food mistakes and so on from the food industry to a model of having to pick up food that was nearing its expiration or sell-by date at retail stores and find a way to get that into the food bank and out to the agencies to feed the hungry, that's letting us serve more than a million pounds of food a month through the food bank operations. Mark's team was really instrumental in figuring out that distribution model. Mark contributed his staff from his distributions people, from his HR side, from his transportation people, to his technology team to solve a very real problem for the food bank.
This is not an organization that just says, okay, yeah, we're one of your sponsors and we'll help you out. This is a get it done organization. If they make a commitment, they're front and center, they're out there marching, they walk the walk, they really get it done.
Now, Mark and I just met for the first time today, but I'm going to tell him a little secret. When this was up for debate around the judging table, and I had the good fortune of being there, the one thing that kept coming back to the surface about Golden State Foods is that Mark did not pass the responsibility on to his employees, that he was there at every event. He was there at the crack of dawn, no matter how early the event started. He was always hands-on, and it was that sort of leadership that was obviously reflected throughout the entire corporation. So I am delighted to introduce to you Mark Wetterow from Golden State Foods.
Maria, we appreciate the special touch you bring to make this event even that much more special to all of us, so thank you for that. You know, I am one that's very fortunate and very blessed to be a part of a wonderful organization named Golden State Foods. And with that, I am at times elected to do, as a utility player, multiple different jobs. And some of them are not so good, but ones like this afternoon is very special for me. So on behalf of all of the associates at Golden State Foods, I'd like to, first of all, thank Doug and Lynn Friedman for their special support that they've given and the energy they put towards this event. And I want to thank the selection committee for presenting us with this very special honor, and for their leadership and their efforts to recognize the service of all of us in this room today. Because it's really the combined efforts of each and every one of you that makes the difference in our communities. In that spirit, I'd like to especially thank Second Harvest Food Bank for their valued partnership and their outstanding efforts for the last 3 decades to feed the hungry throughout Orange County. This dedicated group has been the driving force of providing a growing number of people access to food during very challenging times. And their commitment to help others is an excellent example for all of us. I'd also like to thank all of the GSF associates who do so much good here in Southern California, as well as throughout the United States. Our 60-year history has developed a culture of giving back in areas where we live and work, and our associates have continued to step up financially and through their volunteer efforts to help those in need. They are living examples of our company's creed and our values in action, and it is an honor for me to serve alongside of all of them. Finally, I'd like to congratulate each of the other award recipients and the nominees, because as I mentioned earlier, our communities need all of us to thrive. Each of us bring a unique service and value to each other, whether we're big or small, which together, though, we know that we can contribute to make a real positive change in our world. Like Eleanor Roosevelt said, it's better to light one small candle than to curse the darkness. and together we can make our communities a brighter place for everyone. Thank you.
I'm really embarrassed now. But thank you, Mark. That was very sweet. Well, now it is I don't think I've ever done this before. I actually get to do something I've never done. It is my pleasure to introduce someone who's been watching everything that I've been doing while I've been up here, because as you know, he is the master of this craft. My good friend and colleague, Mr. Ed Arnold. Ed was honored last year at this very event by receiving the special Judge's Spirit of Community Award, and he was the first person to ever be so honored by NPD in Orange County. Millions of dollars have been raised through Ed's generous giving of time as a volunteer master of ceremonies, auctioneer, and spokesman. He's a broadcast veteran of radio, television, sports, and news for an unimaginable 56 years. And fortunately for me, is currently the co-host and managing editor of KOCE TV's Real Orange. See? He's judging everything I'm doing right now. But so then it is your responsibility now to make sure that you give him a warm welcome so that I can go sit down.
You know, Mark made reference to it. How about a nice round of applause for Marie Hall Brown, who's done such an incredible job and does every year with this event. It's interesting, Mark, you know, how Shelley worked me very hard on that video we did for Second Harvest Food Bank. And just a little plug for Joe and Friends. They have the No Lunch group is going to get together next Tuesday. And then the Turkey Trot is Thanksgiving in Dana Point. And it's great to have the governor here. He's probably forgotten about the great days that he helped us through the San Diego JCs. In my case, I was the governor and state president of the California JCs, and he was always there for us. And it's great. Donald Bren left one of his loves off, and I must say Semper Fi, because without him, there's the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation nationally. The Marine Corps Museum would not be as successful as it is. And for that, we thank you very much. And we also appreciate what you continue to do for education, because it's like with KOCE, we serve 417,000 kids in Orange County every single solitary day. So we serve Orange County, and for that, we appreciate everything you do. The Outstanding Founder Award recognizes an individual whose vision and leadership has been the catalyst for establishing a nonprofit organization that improves the quality of life in Orange County. We have a special one. Take a look.
When I first found out that Jerry won the award, I was thrilled because she stays in the background so much and is an unsung hero.
Jerry's someone who sees things and realizes that they can be done. Jerry's not a person that you say no to. Jerry's a person you say yes to. Jerry started working wardrobes 20 years ago. She realized that there were battered women in the Orange County area that when they leave their homes, they leave with nothing more than the clothes on their backs. So with a group of other women, she had kind of a mini day of self-esteem and started collecting business suits and clothes from friends and associates. When she realized that we could serve clients every single day in a place where men and women could come in and get clothing, get career services, all of the things that we now do, I think that's when she began to realize that this vision of hers could be something more.
It's so wonderful to watch someone who really has not experienced someone taking care of them and to be able to transform them into a beautiful professional person.
I really feel that Jerry saw from that day forward that there was an impact that she could make, that there was a place for this and a need for this. And her aha moment then turned into this amazing vision of serving over 5,000 clients a year to help them return to the workforce.
The impact of working wardrobes in Orange County is at multiple levels. Jerry has expanded the organization to deal with teens, deal with veterans. There's a myriad of people that Working Wardrobes is helping.
We have a whole center that is set up so that when clients come in, they can have wardrobing services. But in addition to that, we also have a full career services center. We help men and women and young adults write resumes. They actually can go into our Career Center and look at job postings online. We do customer service training to give them skills that they need to be able to go out and really apply for jobs. All sorts of things to really prepare people to go out into the workforce with confidence and skills and abilities. And we have volunteers that have been with us for 20 years. That says something about the character and the passion of Jerry Rosen to be able to keep those kind of people in her fold to say, will you want to come help me do this again? And they all readily say yes.
They want to work with Jerry. They want to work with Working Wardrobes. She just has that ability to make you feel like you're the best person in the world.
I just think it's amazing what she has done, and I'm very proud of her.
I first met her back in the 1980s when she was kind enough to join a publicity committee for California Special Olympics and used to make the trek to Santa Monica for meetings, and always admired everything that she did. And then she developed a love she saw something that had to be done. The increased statistics of domestic violence really bothered her, and that's why Jerry Rosen founded Working Wardrobes in 1990, and you heard the story of how it helps those in need, and these women that are re-entering the workforce after some of the stuff they've gone through, and men too now, which is very, very special. Today, she oversees a $1.2 million nonprofit. As you heard mentioned, has served over 50,000 clients in its 20 years, with 5,000 at-risk Southern Californians uplifted in 2009 alone. Led by Rosen, Working Wardrobes now includes programs to serve the men and the teens too. So she has really made it happen. She is one incredible individual. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our outstanding founder, Jerry Rosen.
Thank you, Ed and Maria. Thank you to the fundraising professionals that are in the audience today, and to all of the guests, to all of you who have made our community so much better in the work that we're doing. We cannot do our work without you. So 20 years has gone by in a blink of an eye. I actually cannot even fathom that we've been 20 years at Working Wardrobes. I am truly the accidental CEO of an accidental nonprofit organization. And by the way, the book is about 80% done. That's the name of the book, An Accidental CEO. Because I wanted to chronicle this path that I've taken over 20 years of getting men, women, and young adults back into the workforce. And who knew 20 years ago that this would be the most important thing that we could do in our community? It's what our politicians have been talking about all year. We must get more people back to work. And that's part of what we're going to do. Thank you. So along the way, I've been able to use all of the entrepreneurial DNA that I inherited from my father. We also have 3 resale stores and a thrift shop and a career center that has earned income. So fully 65% of our revenue comes from the largesse of our community, the clothes and accessories that are donated. But that alone does not an organization make. So while I appreciate the donations of clothing, when you think of me, think also about the fact that a nonprofit organization does need revenue, and certainly it's what we're going to look for in what we're now calling the second 20. So my vision for the second 20 is that we are alive and thriving with a solid financial base at Working Wardrobes. While I may not be around for all of the second 20, I want to make sure that our staff is in place and our center is in place and that we're doing much more of the work that we've set out to do. Now, there have been thousands of volunteers that have come to Working Wardrobes over the years, and I think that's really why we do the work that we do, because volunteers need that hands-on, life-changing, inspirational opportunity, and we're very fortunate to be able to give that to a lot of people. I have many of our board members and our volunteers and our staff here today. I sit with fabulous people on a daily basis. So what I want to say to you is thank you for the first 20. I also want to thank you for what I know is going to be a phenomenal second 20 at Working Wardrobes. Think of us as a place to invest money, and okay, donate your clothes too, but please make sure that our second 20 is a very strong one. Thank you so much for this honor. I appreciate it.
And if you have the opportunity to stop by Men's Warehouse, they've been extremely vital supporters of Working Wardrobes. You know, one thing, and I glanced over to Ann Police, a co-anchor on Real Orange that I'm lucky enough to do, and fortunate enough to sit next to her. She allows me to do that on occasion. And it is amazing that we've had the opportunity to have many of you on. And if you've not had the opportunity, it's realo@koce.org, and we'll get around to you. So I got to get that plug in for that and give you an opportunity for more exposure. The Lifetime Achievement Award. Wow. You think about it, the Award for Lifetime Achievement recognizes the total philanthropic efforts of an individual, family, or family foundation over a period of 10 or more years. Recipients of the award must have demonstrated a long-term commitment to philanthropy and the spirit of giving back to the community.
Marion's impact in Orange County has been astonishing. She's involved with many organizations. The thing about Marion is she truly cares about especially young people, the next generation. She wants to help young people to make society better.
Many times when individuals give money, it is a one-time gift that helps for that immediate need. But Marion's generosity to give to education, for example, nursing education, doesn't stop at that initial point. It will continue on for many years with nurses that will be touching hundreds of thousands of lives. So it is a gift that doesn't have a beginning or an end point. It goes on in perpetuity, and that is something that you rarely get to see in action.
You know, one of the great pleasures is seeing the students interact with Marion. Marion comes to a lunch each year, and she goes around the table and she talks to each student. She wants to know how they're doing, what they're going to do next. So they come to realize, you know, what the name Marion Knott stands for in Marion Knott Studios.
When I first heard she received the award, my first reaction was, you mean she never won this before? It's a long time in coming. There are a few people I know that have had the remarkable impact that she has had, not just giving significantly. A lot of generous people do that in Orange County. What's truly remarkable is the fact that she is able to have a transformative impact on many organizations. Chapman is a significantly different institution as a result of Marion.
Marion is a champion for us at the Discovery Science Center through supporting our Making the Grade program, where she sends thousands of students each year who are low-income students who wouldn't have this opportunity, but they are able to come here to the Discovery Science Center through the generosity of Marion. One of the schools she had sponsored, unbeknownst to any of us, was actually the school she went to over 80 years ago. And we had a great connection with their third grade class, and Marion came out and actually had a wonderful conversation, talked about what it was like to go to school back when there was only 3 buildings in the middle of this field. And you could see from the connection that Marion had that education and connecting to kids was really dear to her heart.
When we had this vision of building the best film school right here in Orange County, she did not want her name on the building. And I had to convince her to allow us to put her name on the building, not for her, but for us, because we wanted to be associated with her values. You know, Marion is always in the background, and we had this wonderful opening premiere of our building. And we had this shot of Marion up on the scaffolding that was so typical of her, up in the background, cleaning things, making sure everything was ready when we opened the film school.
What she has done has made such a difference to the children, and her caring has gone beyond the norm. Marion called me about one of the donations that she had given, and she wanted to know what we would do with books. And so we talked a great deal about Braille and what the children were doing. She continues to be interested in caring and wanting to know just what's happening with those children.
It's easy for individuals to give money because you can write that check or make the donation. But the love and the compassion that goes behind that is just overwhelming when you get to meet Marion Knott. She truly is a person who has a heart of gold that wants to do everything she can to help other individuals and see them have opportunities in life so they also can go out and help other individuals in the community. Marion Knott really is an unmatched individual that I've had the privilege of getting to know and to truly call my friend.
As a lucky cowboy who's had the pleasure of knowing her for many, many years, and somebody that I absolutely love and adore, as I'm sure you do as well, the Lifetime Achievement Award, Marion Knott.
My favorite cowboy.
Come here, dear, real quick on this.
When I say he's my favorite cowboy, he started working as a cowboy at Knott's Berry Farm. So believe me, I'm telling the truth. Anyway, I have seen all of the miracles that all of you have done. It's just amazing what you have accomplished here in Orange County. And I think you've seen enough of me, and so thank you for all you've done, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have the picture of Ed Arnold as a cowboy at Knott's Berry Farm, and if you're interested, just email me. I'd be happy to share it with you. Thank you, Marion. You're an unbelievably exquisite gift to all of us. Well, now I would like to welcome back to the stage our wonderful co-chairs, Kathy and Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Just quick, brief remarks before we close today. First of all, Maria, thank you for serving once again in such a graceful and tactful way, and we really appreciate all you do for National Philanthropy Day every year. And we actually heard, someone told us that you're jetting off, I think, this afternoon for a much-deserved vacation in Hawaii. So to send you off in an appropriate manner, we want to give you an A. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Maria. We have a surprise for one person at each table, so hold tight just for about one more minute. We hope that you enjoyed today and that you take home some inspiration with you. And as you leave, pick up in the back the gift of giving section of the Orange County Register, which was an insert in today's paper. They're on the table set in the back of the ballroom. And tomorrow, look for a full-page ad also in the Orange County Register. It'll be an ad that recognizes all of today's honorees. And now Kathy Michaels has a few more things, and she will announce our surprise.
Thank you again for being here today. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves. As Kathy mentioned, I will be co-chairing 2011 National Philanthropy Day, and I'm pleased to announce that our current AFP president, Sally Lawrence, has graciously offered to serve as my co-chair next year. Thank you, Sally. A couple of housekeeping things. There's no need for parking validation. You can go right on at the gate when you're ready to go. But the surprise is for the centerpieces. Those of you who are at the table who have a star on the back of your program book, the centerpiece goes home with you. If you don't have the star at your table for some reason, if somebody's already walked off with their program book, you can arm wrestle for them. We hope to see you back here again next year in November for the 26th Annual National Philanthropy Day in Orange County. Thank you for coming. nobody left. There are not too many people left early like they did
Yeah,
last year.
hardly anybody.
We actually made it all the way through.